Aries. In the signs given by the movements of nature, determination might define Aries today. You remain steadfast even when faced with opposition or disagreements. In your interactions, your strong personality shines, and you can show leadership even amidst chaos. At work, you aim to finish tasks quickly, but you also need to learn the value of rest. In the family, you may be quick to anger, but your heart also softens easily. Today, there may be situations that will test your patience, but remember that staying calm amid challenges is also a form of strength. In matters of emotion, it's better to think carefully before speaking rather than expressing irritation impulsively. And remember, the works of nature are not to be underestimated. Unexpected things can happen, so always stay cautious. Taurus. In the signs given by the movements of nature, steadiness in the face of change may define Taurus today. Even with many things happening around you, you remain calm and reasonable. At work, you dislike rushed and half-baked outcomes. You prefer things to be polished and orderly. At home, you're nurturing and prioritize the well-being of your loved ones, especially those going through emotional difficulties. In social interactions, you don't open up right away, but once trust is earned, your support is wholehearted. You will be effective today in tasks that require patience, perseverance, and concentration. You're not easily swayed by gossip or emotions, which contributes to a more peaceful environment. And remember, the works of nature are not to be underestimated. Unexpected things can happen, so always stay cautious. Gemini. In the signs given by the movements of nature, Gemini may be observant and intellectually sharp today. You adapt quickly to any situation, and today your ability to get along with various personalities becomes even more evident. At work, you are reliable in areas that involve communication or presentations. At home, you bring life to conversations, but you also need to listen, not just speak. You might find yourself today in an unexpected conversation where using the right words is crucial to avoid misunderstandings. Despite your skill in speaking, don't forget the importance of silence and emotional awareness. And remember, the works of nature are not to be underestimated. Unexpected things can happen, so always stay cautious. Cancer. In the signs given by the movements of nature, Cancer may find themselves highly sensitive to the emotions of others today. Your natural ability to empathize deepens your connections with family and friends. At work, you might be the one to notice what others overlook. You can offer help even when it's not asked, but be careful not to take on responsibilities that aren't yours. Emotionally, you tend to bottle up your frustrations. Today, try to ease that burden by engaging in open communication. At home, you bring emotional balance to those around you. You'll be effective in tasks related to caregiving, organizing, or giving advice. And remember, the works of nature are not to be underestimated. Unexpected things can happen, so always stay cautious. Leo. In the signs given by the movements of nature, Leo may exhibit natural leadership today, even when it's not asked for. You are the kind of person who can lead a group or situation in the right direction with just your self-confidence. At work, even if others disagree or envy you, you remain unshaken. You can show strength even in the midst of conflict. At home, you are the source of courage during trying times, but don't forget that being strong also includes knowing when to rest. Today, an opportunity may arise for you to prove your dedication, not through words, but through actions. Don't forget to listen to others' opinions, even when you believe you're right. And remember, the works of nature are not to be underestimated. Unexpected things can happen, so always stay cautious. Virgo. In the signs given by the movements of nature, Virgo may show their systematic and detail-oriented nature today. You have a natural desire to bring order to everything, from work to home life. Today, you may notice details that others miss. At work, you might discover a flaw or mistake that needs urgent correction. At home, you'll be the first to take action to keep things in order, even without being asked. In communication, you value clarity and honesty. You are uncomfortable with vague or directionless plans. Today is a good time to use your analytical mind when making decisions, especially those involving finances or health. And remember, the works of nature are not to be underestimated. Unexpected things can happen, so always stay cautious. Libra. In the message brought by the movements of nature, today's trait for Libra may be the ability to stay balanced in making decisions. Even if something is bothering you inside, you will strive to maintain inner peace and not be easily swayed by emotion. At work or at home, you will seek harmony rather than conflict, and you may act as a mediator if misunderstandings arise. At times, you are forced to sacrifice your own desires for the sake of others, but today, you will begin to learn how to prioritize your own voice. In personal matters, you'll be more honest about your feelings, even if there's a bit of fear in your heart. And remember, the work of nature is not to be underestimated. Things can arrive suddenly, so always stay cautious. Scorpio. In the message brought by the movements of nature, today's trait for Scorpio may be quietness paired with deep thinking. You prefer not to speak right away, especially when your feelings are still unclear. Whether at work or at home, you prefer to analyze things before taking action, and you like doing things on your own. If someone approaches you for advice or help, you don't respond right away. You first consider if their intentions are genuine. In love, you will be creative in expressing your feelings, not through words, but through actions. And remember, the work of nature is not to be underestimated. Things can arrive suddenly, so always stay cautious. Sagittarius. In the message brought by the movements of nature, today's trait for Sagittarius may be cheerfulness with a hidden sense of worry. On the surface, you appear fun and carefree, but deep inside, you carry many unspoken thoughts. At work, you'll be open to new ideas and won't be afraid to try something different. You aim to keep the environment lively, often bringing joy to others. However, if someone hurts your feelings, you won't react with anger. You'll remain silent and wait for your emotions to cool down before acting. And remember, the work of nature is not to be underestimated. Things can arrive suddenly, so always stay cautious. Capricorn. In the message brought by the movements of nature, today's trait for Capricorn may be quietness coupled with organization. You won't be carried away by emotions, and you'll focus your attention on concrete tasks that need to be completed. At work, you are resilient, disciplined, and unaffected by others' mood swings. Even when faced with temptations or distractions, you can maintain your focus. At home, you're the type who doesn't need to be told what to do. You just get things done. You're not very talkative, but your actions speak volumes. And remember, the work of nature is not to be underestimated. Things can arrive suddenly, so always stay cautious. Aquarius. In the message brought by the movements of nature, today's trait for Aquarius may be being observant and creative. Your mind may often wander, not because you don't care, but because you think deeply and analyze things from different perspectives. At work, you might come up with a new way to improve existing processes. In relationships, you may not express emotions openly, but you show care through your actions. You dislike judgmental people, and if you sense that behavior from others, you'd rather distance yourself than engage in conflict. And remember, the work of nature is not to be underestimated. Things can arrive suddenly, so always stay cautious. Pisces. In the message brought by the movements of nature, Today's trait for Pisces may be being sensitive to the emotions of others. You have strong intuition and can quickly sense if something isn't right. At home, you're the kind of person who gives freely, even without being asked, so be careful not to let others take advantage. At work, you'd rather help than compete. However, today you might realize that you should also value yourself in the same way you value others. Sometimes, you focus so much on others' well-being that you forget you also deserve protection and care. And remember, the work of nature is not to be underestimated. Things can arrive suddenly, so always stay cautious.